Good morning. Today we're going to have a 5-part series of an interview with Isabel, who is serving as a client. And the purpose is to really give all of you in our sales and marketing program an opportunity to understand a little bit more on 5 different questions. What is LIM? And what are our 4 primary services, and how do we use those in solution selling? Each of these 5 segments will be about 10 minutes. And at the end, we're going to have a chance live in our first meeting on August 29th to debrief it and answer some of the questions that you have. Actually, some of the questions you've already sent in will be a part of this. So that's what we're going to do, and Isabel is going to ask a few questions around LIM, and hopefully it'll be spontaneous and you'll get a chance to get as much of an understanding from how I approach clients when I work with them. So Isabel, thank you for joining us today.
Okay, so thank you for coming to this office. I was just curious if you can tell me a little bit about what is LIM.
LIM is a consulting firm. We've been in business since 1987, and LIM stands for Leadership in International Management. It also stands for Leadership in Motion.
What does that mean?
Well, we have a very active idea of what leadership could be. We are really advocating shared leadership, where it's very difficult to know who the leader is in a team because everybody is taking responsibility for sharing the work. That way you get really the maximum potential out of everybody on a team. So that's one way of conveying that image of shared leadership. We also are using, in terms of our brand, a flock of geese. And as you know, geese share the leadership. There's no one goose that stays in front all the time. They rotate that for a number of reasons: to conserve the energy, to ensure that everybody is working, and to actually make more progress in a more efficient, more effective, in a more engaging way.
Like a good team. So where is LIM? Is it in the US?
We are a global company. We are virtual. We have an address in Texas, where one of our partners, our COO, Willie Anderson, lives. And we are working in the emerging markets primarily. So we have offices in Latin America. LIM Latin America is in Bogota. And we have coaches throughout Latin America. We have Eastern Europe with Dan Berinde. In Eastern Europe, Mauricio Cardenas is heading up our business for us in Latin America. And in Asia, Ruby Palma and I are sharing the responsibility for developing LIM in Asia. She's really focusing on the Philippines, and she and her team have been working throughout Asia along with me. And in the United States, we have Lynn Gray, who is heading up the North American team.
And so what do you do? What does LIM do that is special?
Our mission is to co-create solutions with our clients in the area of leadership and teamwork and learning. These are the 3 areas of our expertise. And we have 4 primary services that I'll tell you a little bit more about in detail: executive coaching, developing high-performing teams, leadership development programs, and developing people internally to become team coaches. And very often these different services get put together in unique ways to find a solution for companies. We also are looking at how do you develop your business and your leaders simultaneously. So we use real business challenges, real organization challenges.
Like consultants? You're consultants?
We are a consulting firm, but focusing on how do you develop leaders, how do you develop business, and how do you develop your organization simultaneously. So we have to have a consulting hat as we're sitting down with our clients to help them understand how we might be able to support them in their leadership development needs and not look at it in isolation.
So you're both consultants and trainers?
Not trainers. We consider ourselves coaches. We call ourselves learning coaches because we're constantly learning. In fact, we have a formula, L equals is greater than ROC, the rate of change. Learning must be greater or equal to the rate of change, otherwise we're going to go out of business. So we have to continually learn about our own craft, which is coaching, about teamwork, about learning, and about leadership. These are the three areas that we as LIM coaches really need to focus on and have been focusing on over the last 27 years. Perhaps our unique characteristic, or one of them, is the fact that we are looking at how does teamwork really impact an entire organization. How do leaders lead in their team, share leadership in their team, so that teams throughout the organization can really become a higher performing organization, higher performing business, more profitable, more engaging, more fun.
We have been looking for team development for some time now. We have met with many consulting firms. What is different from what you have from others?
I think there are 3 or 4 differentiating factors in LIM. One is that we have a 5-dimensional approach to the way we work. I've just prepared this for you, but as you can see, we have a pentagon here, or a house, and whenever we're co-designing with our clients, which is one of our key strengths, I believe, sitting down with you, and it's not us giving you something and saying, this is what we're going to do, but saying, you know, what are your challenges and potential outcomes at the business level, at the organization level, at the team, at the professional and the personal, that we can weave together so that as we're developing any one of our services, be it executive coaching or a leadership development program or working with teams, we can achieve outcomes in 5 dimensions. I think that's one of our unique features. As I was saying, I think because we're focusing on teams and have been over the last 27 years, we've identified about 46 different processes around these 5 dimensions that a high-performing team needs to be good at if it's really going to be high-performing. We also have an underlying set of 10 principles that have been researched, and these action, reflection, learning principles have been documented. We've written about it. We have a book. And this serves as the sort of the engine for all the work we do. We're really looking, if you can, I've drawn 10 little boxes for you here, but I'll just tell you briefly what these are, because this is really one of the distinguishing characteristics. The first picture here, if you can imagine, is a thinker standing for reflection, the statue of Rodin. And reflection is critical to the work we do. If we don't reflect and ask ourselves, what did we say we were going to do? How did we do it? How do we feel about what we did? What would we do differently? What would we do the same? Without those questions, we're probably not going to really learn that much. Another picture here is a mirror. Imagine somebody looking into a mirror. Self-awareness, another critical learning principle. How can I understand where I am now? What am I doing well? We have a very appreciative approach to change. So we're helping people understand what their strengths are, and at the same time, what are the areas that I want to change? What do I want to get better at? 360 feedback is one way of doing that, just giving regular feedback. This is standing for a picture of a light bulb, human light bulb, tacit knowledge. The wisdom within each of us is much greater than expertise of somebody coming in from the outside. So one of the things we do when we're working with a team or with a group is saying, what do you think? What have you learned? What are your questions? And tapping into that inner wisdom. Social learning. If you can imagine a number of people in a coffee conversation. We try to use those incidental moments of a coffee break or lunch or overnight as a way to really extract a lot of the energy and ideas that come out of a normal conversation. This picture is that of a target, and it stands for relevance. Why are we here? Why am I here? What do I want to know? So question-driven, challenge-driven, business-driven. So the 7th principle is that of reinforcement. And the metaphor I like to use is that of an electromagnet. Imagine a nail with a number of coils going around it. Each time you put another coil around that nail, it becomes a stronger magnet. And in terms of the work that we do, the 7th principle of reinforcement will help an individual go from conscious awareness to unconscious mastery. And this is what we're trying to do with individuals and teams, help them absorb these 10 principles and all the tools and the concepts and the practices and the processes that bring these principles to life so that they can apply them in their own team and in their own life. The next principle is that of integral. It's imagine a heart, a head, and a gut. We are working with the entire person when we're working in a team or working individually or working in a leadership development program. So we invite people to bring their thoughts, their feelings, their intuition, get to know them as people as well as professionals, and it just enriches the whole experience. Since people are on the job probably more than they are at home, it just makes common sense to get to know people from a holistic perspective. The ninth principle is that of, if you can imagine, a yin-yang. It's helping people see the different mental models that we all share different perspectives in life. So helping people go from one way of looking at things where they feel this is the only way, to be able to look at different perspectives and changing attitudes, changing behavior. In fact, that's what how we define learning. We're looking at transformational learning, where people are able to really change the way they view and value and perceive. And last and not least is the principle of facilitated learning. And the picture here is that of a coach's hat. And the role that we play is a critical role to help this learning take place from all these principles. You were asking about unique selling proposition for LIM. So I think there are 5. As I mentioned, the 5-dimensional approach to learning, the ARL principles, our focus on teams, that rich history we have in working with teams. I think the other one is our coaches themselves. We have coaches from all over the world. We're working in the emerging markets. We've got approximately 35 coaches who have gone through our own certification program and understand how these principles and the processes and concepts can be applied in any one of the 4 services. And finally, it's the focus on practicality. Our clients really want to know, so what can I do after we've worked together? So we've accumulated, invented a number of very practical concepts and tools that people can take away and use immediately.
Who are your clients?
We have a number of different clients. Our primary focus is on multinational clients because we are a global company, so it makes sense for us to be able to work with clients who are in all of the markets as well. So we can open a door in Hong Kong from a client in Mexico, vice versa. And so a lot of the large multinationals, we have over 80 clients, mostly multinationals that we've been working with over the last 27 years. So we also work, however, with small, medium-sized enterprises and local country nationals that are aspiring to go international. And we also work to some degree with not-for-profit organizations. We encourage all of our coaches to spend some of their time helping and supporting not-for-profit organizations.
So it is like a boutique consulting firm?
Correct.
And you work with what level in the organization?
Usually the top third of the company. Wherever possible, we like to begin with the senior leadership team because we believe if systemic change and organization change is what the companies are looking for, it's much easier to do if you begin at the top.
Okay. Thank you very much.
You're welcome. And maybe in a couple of minutes I can tell you a little bit more about what our 4 services are.
Good. Thank you.